Hi mamas, thanks for joining me for this strength and conditioning workout for pregnancy. This is safe to do through any stage of your pregnancy as long as you are feeling good. And these exercises have specifically been chosen to be safe for prolapse, pelvic pain and pubic symphysis pain, and abdominal separation. But if anything is feeling a little uncomfortable for you or that there's too much pressure in the vagina, please just skip that exercise and join in with the next one when you're ready. I'm going to use 2 5-pound weights today so that I can keep talking while I'm doing my exercises. If you're feeling like you want a little bit more challenge, you could use something a little bit heavier, or you can stick with body weight if that's where you're at today. So really respecting where your body is at on the day that you do this workout. We're going to start with a little warm up. So finding a wall or something you can rest an arm on, just a pec stretch here first. So elbow and forearm resting on the wall. Keep your ribs stacked over your pelvis, and then you're gently rotating your chest, your whole torso away from the wall to feel that stretch through the front of the shoulder. Enjoy a few breaths here. And then we'll turn and do the other side. So forearm, elbow on the wall, ribs are stacked. Rotate the torso away from the wall. So you feel that pull at the front of the chest. And enjoying a few breaths. Yeah. I like to go back and forth a couple of times. Go back to the first side. Rotate, feel that pec stretch. Check in with the ribs so that we're not flaring. If you're in the habit of flaring your rib cage, that can actually increase the stress on the linea alba and contribute to more abdominal separation. So if we can leave the ribs stacked above the pelvis, that's going to allow the abdominal wall to engage more and protect against abdominal separation. All right. Then we'll come down onto hands and knees and get the spine and pelvis warmed up a little more. Okay. Starting just with a bit of pelvic tilting, kind of like your cat-cow, but you don't need to arch all the way on the way down. You can arch all the way up if it feels good. And then we're going to rest in that more of that neutral spine position and do some baby hugs. So as you inhale, tummy can soften. As you exhale, tummy draws in. You can think about your pelvic floor engaging and lifting, starting as the foundation of that engagement. Inhale, relax. Exhale, Kegel and pelvic floor. Inhale, relax. Exhale, Kegel and pelvic floor. If you're feeling up to it, you can do a bit of arm or leg extensions as well. So inhale again to relax and preset, I think of it. Exhale, reach an arm out. Inhale to bring it back in. See if you can keep nice and strong through the shoulders. And we're trying to minimize any dropping or swaying through the torso as you do these moves. If you feel comfortable extending a leg, you can reach a leg back behind you or even combine arm and leg. If you're having any pubic symphysis pain, you'll be best just to stick with the arms and keep both knees on the ground. But if you're feeling comfortable, then you can do that full bird dog, arm and leg extending with that deep core engagement of the pelvic floor and belly. All right, that's our warm up. We've preset and woken up some of those deep core muscles, and now we're ready to get into our strength workout. So I've got my weights here. First set that we're going to do is some goblet squats, alternating with some flies. So I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see. Weights are in front of your chest. Inhale to preset. Exhale to stick your bum back, and exhaling on the way up. And then coming into our flies next. So similar starting position, but now you're going to take your arms up and out to the sides. So you can inhale to preset, exhale to lift out. And if you can keep the ribs stacked over the pelvis, that's going to better engage the abdominal wall and protect against abdominal separation or diastasis. Okay, coming back into our goblet squats. And remember, you can take a rest break at any time or grab some water as you need. Coming back into our flies. Okay, shake that out, take a little breather. And the next superset we're going to do are some deadlifts. You could do these symmetrical to work both legs at once, or you could do a staggered deadlift to really load the back of the front leg. So the hamstrings of the leg that's in front. So see what feels good for you. I'll demonstrate a little bit of both as we go. And then the alternating exercise is going to be a wall push-up. So pretend I've got my wall here. The closer that my feet are to the wall, the easier it's going to be. The further away the feet are, the harder it's going to be. And you're trying to keep your torso one straight line as you do your wall push-ups without letting the ribs flare or letting the body bow anywhere through the spine or the hips. All right, let's give these a go. So deadlifts, we're starting at the bottom. I'll start with some symmetrical ones. And you should feel the work more down the back of the legs, not necessarily through the lower back. So I'm thinking about keeping the pelvis untucked and hinging at the hips, not rounding the spine to lower myself down. And then these staggered ones would look more like this, one leg in front, starting lower down, coming up, and you'll just feel a lot more work through the leg that's in front. Okay, all right, we're alternating that with our wall push-ups. Pump my weights down. I'm going to use the wall here. So find a distance for your feet from the wall that feels good for you. Keep the body one straight plank. And then you can bend your elbows out to the side. Exhale to push away. The slower you do these moves, the more challenge, the more work you're going to be doing with your muscles. And you can still be really intentional about that breath and deep core activation. Okay. Shake that one out. We're coming back to our deadlifts. So staggered stance. I'm going to do my right leg in front this time. Starting at the base. Exhaling to come up. You can inhale down. And if the staggered isn't feeling good for you, you can come into a symmetrical one. Okay. You can put the weights down again and coming back to the wall push-ups. Thinking more about that engagement and exhale as you push yourself away from the wall. Remembering you can choose, it's a choose your own adventure here. The further away your feet are, the harder it's going to be. The closer your feet, the easier it will be. You can also play with the width of where your hands are, and instead of taking the elbows out to the sides, if you want to challenge the triceps, to the back of the upper arm here. You can let the elbows point down to the floor. Okay. All right. So we're up to our superset number 3, which is going to be on the floor. So hands and knees. We're doing some rows and then some clams. So for hands and knees, if you're not feeling great on your wrists, you can use your weights as a bit of a hand rest so that there's not as much pressure through the wrists, or you can use your hands in a fist. So see what feels good for you. I'm going to start with my hands on the weights, and that also helps you get a little bit of extra height. So the rows here, we're going to do about 10 on each side. Exhale to row up. You should feel and see your belly engage. But the rest of your spine should stay fairly still as you do these. We're doing the other side. Be grateful for this upper back strength later on when you're carrying a small human around. All right, last one there. Okay, we can move the weights over to the side for a minute. Coming to lie down on your side. So you can use your hand to prop up your head, or you can just lie right down. We're going to do some clams, and I'll give a few options here. So the first option is just lifting the knee. Keep the ankles together. We're thinking ankles, hips, shoulders, all in one straight line. The belly hug, pelvic floor is on the exhale, which is when you're lifting the knee. You should feel this mostly around the side of your bum and hip. If you're going too high, you might actually lose the activation of the muscles that we want. So you don't have to go very high, and you may find even just tipping the hips forward a little bit will help you really target these lateral hip muscles, or your glute med and glute min here. All right, a progression from here, if this is feeling way too easy for you, would be to lift the knee and the foot, and then lower them back down in sequence. So just work at whichever level you like. And then a further progression, if you're so inclined, is to lift the knee, lift the ankle, and then straighten out the leg. So you're challenging the endurance. And then when the leg's all the way out straight, there's also a lot more load on these muscles. So you'll feel a bit more work. I'm definitely feeling a really nice warm burn happening here. Okay, Then, of course, we need to do the other side. So you can just roll over. I'm going to turn around so I can keep facing this way. And again, working at whichever level is feeling good for you. Little turn forward with the hips if you need that to really feel the muscles working in the right spot. We've got our level 1 clam. We have our level 2 puppy peeing on a fire hydrant. And then the level 3, if you like, is that karate kick with the leg extending all the way out. If you need to take a break at any point, if it's getting a bit too intense, that's okay. We never need to push through pain. But if we can work to the point where you're feeling a little tired with these exercises, then we're at the point of building and maintaining some beautiful strength through these muscles. All right. We'll come back to our rows. So find your weights again if you're using them. Supporting under the hands. Exhale as you lift. And the other side. Okay, pop those weights aside and coming back down to everybody's favorite, the clams. All right, choose your own adventure. Work at whichever level is feeling good for you. And the nice thing about clams is that they're a really easy exercise to do early postpartum as well. So I usually tell my mamas, don't worry about too much in the first few weeks, but if you feel like doing a little bit of glute strengthening, some of that deliberate deep core activation, clams can be a really nice one, as long as it's not causing any discomfort for you. I'll often find myself doing these on the floor of my kids' bedroom while I'm waiting for them to fall asleep. But out of all of the exercises that we've done, this is where I feel the most muscle burn. Such a simple exercise. It definitely works well. Okay. Whew. Give that a rub out if you need. We're going to do the same on the other side. Just watch the hip, make sure that it's not rolling back and that you're feeling the muscles working just at the side and back of the hip here. You want to have a go at that final progression. That's the karate kick. Going up and down in 3 steps and then coming back the same way. And definitely feeling that. Okay, last one. And whew, rest on down and give that one a little rub as well. Okay, we're up to our final strength exercise for this workout. And you can do this without anything, but this is kind of nice to do with something between your knees. So I've got a foam roller here. You could use a kid's soccer ball or a yoga block, just something to grip onto and work the inner thigh muscles a little bit more. So we're on hands and knees again. You've got something held between the thighs, just above the knees. And we're going to do a knee hover. So exhale to engage and press through your toes and your hands to lift the knees up from the ground. And then resting back down. You could hold this for just 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever you feel that you're up to. Take a few rest breaths in between. Squeeze and lift. And I'm going to do one more. Squeeze and lift. And that can be quite a challenging exercise. So remember to work at your level and don't push through if it's not feeling good for you. As a little bit of a warm down and working in some birth prep, we'll do a bit of rocking. So hands and knees, sit your bum back towards your heels, knees as wide as you need to accommodate for your belly. And you can explore some different angles here. So potentially swaying the hips side to side, doing some circles with your bum. The side to side might get a nice little groin stretch there as well. And then if you're comfortable resting down onto your elbows, this lovely forward leaning squat prep position helps to get baby off your back for a little bit of relief. It also gives baby a chance to move and get into a good position ready for birth. And then the shape that we're making with the knees and hips is mimicking a deep squat position. So a really nice way to open up the pelvis, create that space and relax the pelvic floor in preparation for birth. Just be sure not to tuck the tail under as you go back. It's not a full child's pose, but instead we're keeping the tailbone untucked, tailbone floating up to the ceiling. And you can rest here for as long as you like. All right. Well, thanks for joining me for this workout if you made it this whole way. Remember, you shouldn't feel any pain during or after these exercises. And if you have any concerns or questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. And I'll look forward to hearing from you. Bye.